Bracha, everybody. This week's parasha is Parashat Vayeishev. Jacob finally settles back in the land of Canaan. He settles back in the dwelling place of his fathers. Why does the Torah repeat this? If we know Canaan is the dwelling place of Abraham and Yitzchak, so why is the Torah saying it again, doubling it? Because it's trying to tell us that Jacob now thought, he finally thought that he could relax. He finally thought he could have tranquility. Vayeshev, he sat, he requested to relax. He requested to have a peaceful life. Why? And it's giving the reason by repeating this. Eretz Canaan, the land of Canaan, the land of the dwelling place of his fathers. All this time that he had been by Lavan, over 20 years till he came back, he had not been doing the mitzvah of living in the Holy Land, and he had not been fulfilling the mitzvah of honoring one's parents, father and mother, because he was not next to them. And Esav, meanwhile, was doing both. He was living in the Holy Land, and he was honoring his parents. Now Jacob thinks, I'm finally returning to the Holy Land. I'm finally doing the mitzvah of honoring my parents. I want to have tranquility. I want to have a good life. What does Hashem do? He gives him the problem of Yosef, of the brothers getting jealous of Joseph, the brothers selling Joseph. Jacob doesn't know if he died or not, and Jacob suffers, it says, for almost 22 years with he never was certain that Joseph was killed, but he didn't know if he was alive either, and he was greatly distressed all those years. Why would God do this to Jacob, make him suffer so greatly? All he wanted was have a tranquil life. It teaches that sometimes for people on that high of a level, they kind of have to go through a difficult time. This whole story of Joseph was a story that needed to happen. Our nation needed to end up in Egypt. We needed to go to Egypt. We needed to refine the sparks that were in Egypt. And Joseph started the path of this. How? Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dreams. Joseph knew there was going to be 7 years of plenty, and it was supposed to be 7 years of famine, which ended up only being 2 years of famine, because Jacob ended up coming to Egypt. And when the holy man Jacob came to Egypt, he broke the famine. He broke it before it was supposed to end. So this whole thing was set up from God. Jacob, because he was such a holy person, sometimes the holy people kind of do take the suffering for the world. And in the end, because he had gone through that, the last 17 years of his life were a great kind of life. He had a great life in Egypt. Even though he was in Egypt, even though he wasn't in the Holy Land anymore, he had a great time. Why? Because he was with all his children, because he was with all his family. But we learn many lessons from this. We learn that, as parents, we can't always control. Sometimes we have a more difficult time with one child than another, and we may favor. We shouldn't do that. It's not a good thing ever to favor children, and Jacob paid the price for this. Because he favored Joseph, the brothers got jealous and they did what they did, and they also paid the price. They suffered. The 10 tribes suffered for doing such a thing, and the suffering remained even after the tribes passed away. It says that there were souls that reincarnated as the tribes, and those souls needed to be punished for what they had done in a prior incarnation, selling their brother. So it teaches us all of our actions, even things that are supposed to happen, God forbid, we need to pay, unfortunately. So we really just have to, our life is just really raising our deeds and being better as much as we can. We're coming into Hanukkah, the holiday of lights, and this Shabbat is also Shabbat Mevarchim. We're blessing the new month. So we're coming into a lot of goodness, Be'ezrat Hashem, and may we keep on seeing good and revealed goodness. God bless you all. Shabbat Shalom.